Hi, this is Yashasvi from Education 2.0 conference. I'm here with Lara. First of all, congratulations for getting recognized in our platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Lara Schaeffer, and until recently, I have been a high school English teacher, and my career will have been 28 years.
Okay.
But I am kind of making a pivot into embracing part of myself, which I only discovered 3 years ago when I was diagnosed autistic.
Okay.
So my daughter was diagnosed at 15, which is pretty late, and certainly my own diagnosis was late. And so I have really jumped into doing autism advocacy and education to help make a difference in that landscape.
All right. Well, that is really good to know that. Other than that, please, Lara, tell me what led you to winning out this award.
So in July of 2022, so we're coming up on a year, I founded my company Exceptional Autism Consultation. So I work primarily with young adults and adults,
Okay.
often who have a new diagnosis of autism, so a late diagnosis.
Right.
And it's very life altering
Okay.
to have gone through school and even as an adult, even your 20s and your 30s, and have all of the challenges that autism brings to a person and not understand where they're coming from. Can
Right.
you imagine?
Right.
And um, some people have asked me, did you always think you might be autistic? Did you suspect you were autistic? I didn't have the faintest idea. It wasn't even remotely considered. And I actually had reached out for help for different issues that I have 3 times in college.
Right.
I was in therapy for anxiety for a full year in my 30s.
I see.
My daughter was a late talker and she was had a full educational evaluation at 7 years old.
Right.
Nobody helped us. Nobody recognized anything.
I
And
see.
so, by helping people who have a new diagnosis, and also I'll be changing the name of my company this summer,
Okay.
very soon, actually, probably in May,
Okay.
um, to autism discovery.
Great.
So right now it's exceptional, but it'll be autismdiscovery.com with a hyphen in between. And so people who are newly diagnosed autistic can discover more about themselves and how they relate to the world and kind of um, transition to this new identity.
Right.
And I also offer guided self evaluations
Okay.
because after COVID and with greater societal realization,
Right.
it's there's long waiting lists to get evaluated for autism. And
Yes.
some communities, it's practically impossible to get a adult diagnosis because the
Right.
focus is almost always on the children.
Children's right.
So what I have begun offering is a guided self evaluation, hoping to be economical.
Right.
A person can work with me in either 1, 2, or 3 sessions, depending on budget.
Right.
And I have the training, I have the education, I know exactly what's involved with autism evaluation. I
Right.
just don't have the certification. I'm not
Right.
certified to evaluate.
I
But
see.
what I figured is an excellent middle ground instead of someone out in the world for a year or 2 or 10
Right.
wondering, am I autistic? I think I might be autistic. I
Right.
can sit with them, work with them, have the process be efficient, and have them gain confidence and decide whether this is something that applies to their life. And if it does, we can move forward and they can have a healthier life.
I see.
So
That is
my
really good
award
to
was in
know.
recognition of this company.
Right.
And again, we'll be changing the name to autismdiscovery.com.
Well, that is really good to know that. Other than that, yes, like the things that you have mentioned that are really great. Other than that, like how do you think like this industry, the health, or you can say the education industry, is transforming lives at a global scale?
Yes. Well, in terms of neurodiversity, um, it's, I, I suppose it's accurate to say it's a buzzword, both in schools and in companies, but it's much more than that. It's a real need. It's
Right.
a huge sector of the population, um, along with autism.
Right.
ADHD is a neurodiversity, as
Right.
are dyslexia and Tourette's. And so recognizing that up to, well, for autism, maybe 1 or 2% of the population is autistic. But
Right.
with ADHD, it might be 8% of the population is autistic. And
Right.
when you combine all of the neurodiversities, it's not a small group of people that we're talking about. But
Right.
honestly, even if we're only 10 people that we're talking about, 10 students in a or excuse me, in a school,
Right.
even if it were only one student in a school, we still
Right.
need to help that individual.
Exactly.
And even just one individual, myself, out in the world, unaware of my autism, this brings so many emotional and mental health challenges to people if they're not aware. Um, so the changes are really recognition,
I see.
that someone like myself, who is speaking with you now and maybe doesn't seem to have autism, I am
Right.
autistic, and I am absolutely challenged by the reality that autism brings to my life. Now,
Correct.
because I didn't know I'm autistic until I'm 47, I so it's a term called masking,
Okay.
where you kind of learn what is expected in society, and you're able, if you have a high verbal ability,
Right.
you're able to pretty much blend in.
Right.
But it wasn't a deliberate choice of mine. I was a young child, then I was 8, then I was
Right.
12, and with masking, you pick up on elements that, because of your autism,
Right.
elements that others don't like,
Right. Right.
things that other people will judge you for. And so you don't do those things, or
Right.
you wait till you're home to do those things, or you participate in conversations, and you try to be social like the rest because
Right.
you think that's expected.
Right.
So yeah, just recognition that autism has different presentations and it looks differently in different people. And
Right.
then just also greater education and awareness
Right.
for destigmatizing autism. It's not an awful situation.
Right.
Those of us who are autistic, we have lots of wonderful qualities, many qualities that people without autism don't have, in terms of um, ways that our minds work.
Right.
So we're very good additions to classrooms, to companies, because we can look at situations in a slightly different way. And sometimes we see things that people without autism don't see, or
Mhm.
aren't aware of. So we can bring a whole wealth of positive contributions to society.
I understand. Right.
At the same time, society needs to be accepting of our differences, be
Right.
less judgmental. And if that's the case, then this masking that I talked about, autistic people would have to do that less.
I
We
see.
would feel more comfortable being ourselves,
Right.
and we wouldn't have the emotional and mental challenges that come with masking and that come with being judged,
Right.
and being made to feel not not a important part of society.
I see. Well, to be honest, I am pretty impressed by the vision that you are carrying, and that is really wonderful to know. But apart from that, like even I would like to know more, like how did it help if we talk about the Education 2.0 conference? So, like till now, how has the conference been for you, like so far, like Education 2.0?
Yes. Well, what some of the things I've really enjoyed about the conference, two in particular. One session was inclusivity in education,
Okay.
and the the little subtitle was diversity in unity. And
Okay.
I thought that was very clever. And
I see.
as it played out in the presentation, it was really um, eye-opening for a
Right.
lot of people. I think that
Right.
unity equals diversity,
Right.
and they're not contradictory terms.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
That's
And then
really
another session on a similar in a similar direction was blind spots,
blind spots.
and what are the problems that are created with certain expectations and assumptions. And
Right.
that's so important to my work. That's so important to, you know, people have assumptions of what autism is, of what an autistic person maybe
Right.
is. They would suspect limitations in an autistic person, which, maybe I do have certain challenges, and maybe there are certain ways that I have I work with limits in my life because it
Right.
makes me more comfortable. But I
Right.
have also lots to offer, and just like
Nice.
everyone. So, whether it's autistic qualities or anything really, when we have assumptions and when we make expectations and limit any
Right.
individual because of expectations and assumptions, we really do have those blind spots. And blind spots, when you're driving, they can be very dangerous.
Nice.
So, and even if there's not true danger involved, a blind spot is going to, similar to what I was saying before, it's going to limit
Right.
the richness of what might be available, and you won't be able to include other perspectives.
Right.
And also, when an autistic person or any person who is marginalized, when they're included, of course, it's going to help the health
Right.
and the emotional and mental um, you know nature of that person. And a lot of these, we got to think of these children, and
Absolutely.
these children and these young adults that are forming their identities
Right.
and becoming the adults that they will become. The more that we can understand autism and work towards acceptance and destigmatization, uh, it's healthy for that person, but it's also better for society because
Right.
there's so much that we might be missing through these blind spots.
I see. Well, that is really wonderful to hear about that, your experience and the other thing. But other than that, please do tell us where we can find more about your company or where we can reach out to you.
Excellent, thank you. So I am on LinkedIn, and you see my name here on the Zoom screen, Lara Schaeffer, and I write regularly. I try to be informative and warm and let people know elements about autism and elements about neurodiversity that might be new to them. So there's a lot of posts and good information from me on my LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
And so my company is Exceptional Autism Consultation.
Uh,
So if you Google my name and Exceptional Autism, that should come up. But as I said, the new name for the company will be Autism Discovery. So autism discovery.com. And so you'll be able to locate me through autismdiscovery.com um, as of around May 1st.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Lara, for having us here. It was a lovely speaking with you. Even I'll be more than happy to see you out in our upcoming conferences as well.
Yes, it would be wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day ahead, Lara. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.